Pueden
Yeah.
activar su...
So my understanding is, okay, most of the Spanish that you spoke, it wasn't translated for me, but I guess I got the gist. You introduced both me and Dr. Esther, right? So and when we speak in English, I understand that it will be translated simultaneously. Is that what it is?
Yes, Dr. Chan.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So, am I supposed to speak first, and then Shelley?
Yeah, apparently yes.
Okay. There's not a lot of preparation, but anyway. So, hola, I welcome everybody, and again, this is my understanding. Most of you on this call are somewhat health professional, or at least you're related to the health industry. Is that right or wrong?
Yeah, we have some people that they work with the health departments, and we have some people that doesn't. Is like distributors like us.
Okay. All right. Okay. Good. Um, can I show some slides here?
Yes, sir.
Can I share some slides with you? Let me see. It's this one. Let me go. All right. So Dr. Shelley is going to go into a lot of detail about our products specifically and so on and so forth. Okay. So what I'm going to do here is to provide this particular group of folks on the call here some background in terms of what Nu Skin is all about. All right. Because the background is very important because it's almost like what I call a cornerstone or the ethos of our culture in the company, how we develop our products. And most importantly, one of the things that we pride ourselves here is actually this particular um, thing let me see, we call ourselves evidence-based anti-aging supplement company. In other words, we tend not to really just believe that a particular ingredient that we put into our product is actually good. All right. We need to get the evidence, particularly the scientific evidence, to prove that is actually beneficial. So that's the most important thing. That is probably we are the one of the very few companies that actually will conduct scientific studies and clinical studies to get the evidence for our anti-aging supplements. Okay, so that's very important because, like, I've always believed, with many companies, whether it's in Latin America or whether here in the US, the challenge has always been companies are willing to say whatever they want to say, but they never are willing to invest in scientific research to prove what they say is true. All right. Now, frankly, not many people are going to dig very deep into a company and find out exactly what the claims are being made for the products are actually based on scientific evidence. We are sort of different in the sense that we will not say something that we cannot back it up or substantiate with clinical evidence. All right. And what sort of company are we? Really, our focus, if you will, in Nu Skin is all about anti-aging. All right. And the reason why we want to focus on aging is because we all grow old. But really, it's about, I don't think we are ever going to make the claim in the sense that we're going to help you live longer or like over 100 years and so on. Maybe that can happen, but we think at the current state of the scientific evidence and what we have is that we're going to help you live better longer. In other words, your quality of life, if you will, should be at the highest level possible, no matter how long you live. That's a big difference, okay? It's about the quality of life, what we call the health span. And in order for us to get to that point of giving you that kind of benefit, we have taken a very different approach to sort of anti-aging. And that is, we wanted not just to provide symptomatic relief, in other words, treat the signs and symptoms of aging. We rather go for what we say directly to the sources of aging. And what we have done through scientific research and with collaboration and communication with some of our collaborators, we feel now, we believe very strongly that these sources of aging are at the genetic level. And that's where we need to go. So, and if we can actually influence at the genetic level, then we feel we have a much, much better chance to develop meaningful products that will give persistent benefits to people, right? So how do we do that? This genetic level is obviously based on the technology that many of the geneticists and biotech companies and so on we use. We call a gene chip, if you will. Nowadays, you can actually essentially assess the activity, the gene expression of all these genes, close to about 25,000 genes in the body, almost at the same time by using these kind of gene chips. And what we could produce is really a picture, a genetic picture of really a healthy issue or tissue, or what we call a young tissue, and rather an old tissue that doesn't look very healthy. And instead of changing the gene is the same, but it's the activity associated with that particular gene or those genes that turns out to be different. And this is how we color it. We call these heat maps. So fundamentally, you can see when you use an old tissue, the gene expression profile of those genes is very different from a young, healthy piece of tissue, right? So what we really want to do is, therefore, now that we have fingerprints, a gene expression fingerprints, we're now able to sort of say, okay, what we should be targeting is a picture or a profile that looks very much like the left side, okay? And overall, as you hear us speak and our scientists speak and so on, we call this approach, this genetic approach, the age-log approach to anti-aging, right? Because now, for the first time ever, we can actually target sources of aging and be able to influence them. So that's what we do. And here's just to illustrate further, in a sense, what we are talking about relating to health span. Like I said, typically now when you're age of 50 years, you're starting to get, into the rate zone, which I say is the onset of disease, if you will. You get better as you can move. If you can move that rate zone more and more towards the right side, okay? You do not want the last scenario, what I call the nightmare scenario, where the rate zone is so wide and it's starting to go earlier into your age. So what we're really aiming for with our anti-aging approach in new skin is the one of the third, what we call the best column, where there's very little red and it's all blue. In other words, your quality of life, is very, very good throughout however long that you live, okay? And this is based on really very fundamental science. Our collaborators, for example, at the University of Wisconsin in Madison, Dr. Weindrich and Dr. Perla, they had actually done extensive genetic research. And they had done it on a colony of primates that they have kept for more than 30 years, okay? I'll show you a picture. This is very dramatic because these two monkeys or primates are essentially of the same age. But I think you would agree with me that the monkey on the left looks much healthier than the monkey on the right. Okay. Now, the only difference, about 28 years old, as I indicated here, the reason why we're so excited with this is that although they're of the same age, the only difference between the two monkeys is the fact that we restricted caloric restriction for the left monkey. It's not that the monkey on the right is eating a bad diet, is actually eating a fairly good diet recommended for primates, but still, there were too many calories in it and so on. And therefore, in fact, that monkey it's also suffering from a lack of micronutrients as well. So you can see how caloric restriction, how nutrition, as Dr. Hester will go into it later on, more in terms of how we attack nutrition, how important it is as it relates to aging or the aging process. Okay. So, and it's been proven in many studies. I mean, for this particular group, I would just show you some of the studies, and really most of these studies are related to caloric restriction and what we call a nutritional intervention. And always a caloric restricted animal in different animal models, you can actually see that they have a much better quality of life, if you will, right? They might live to the same age, like 30, roughly about 30 years old here, but you can see the rate line is above the blue line, which shows that the percentage of the animals with no disease, they still look healthy, is far better in the caloric restricting group. All right. And this is very important to us because then we look at the humans. The humans behave in the same way, and this is a study. This, once again, you can actually look at gene expression, if you will, in twins. These are identical twins. And when they were young, 3 years old, those colors just show you the gene expression on the chromosomes, if you will. And this investigator showed when they were 3 years old, fresh from their mother, not exposed to any lifestyle changes, and have not adopted bad habits and so on, the color of the twins, they look very similar. It's spread out throughout the chromosomes, obviously, but it's about the same. The pattern, the color pattern is the same. But when they reach 50 years old, the change happened. They don't look so similar anymore. They seem to, some of the genes or some of the clusters of the gene are not behaving in the same identical manner as the other twin. And subsequent studies and so on and so forth, they found, sure enough, the difference, they're all related to lifestyle habits that are negative. They have a negative impact.
Sorry, Dr. Chang. Sorry.
Yeah.
Could you please put the presentation full screen that somebody is like can see it
okay.
better? Sorry.
No.
You prefer to have it like that?
Okay. All right. Is it better? See? Can you see?
Perfect. Yes. Perfect. Thank you very much.
Okay. Sorry. So you can see, yeah, I'm sorry. So that's what it is, chromosomes, twins. So it happens in humans also, not just in animals. In humans, if you don't have a healthy nutrition or healthy lifestyle, you are going to change the gene expression of the age-related genes, okay? So we've done all that, and we have the foundation, if you will, where for our approach and how we're going to develop anti-aging products, right? And it's not just for the body, inside of the body. We also apply the same approach to the skin as well for our topical products. So it's good, but fundamentally it comes down to this, right? What when we talk about our science, what are we really talking about? And really, there's a lot of science that we do. Fundamentally, our science is your guarantee that our products are safe, and effective. That is the most important, okay? That's the most important promise we can make on supplements. If we cannot prove that it is safe, we will not launch that product. After all, when you have many doctors in this particular call and so on and so forth, you know, your Hippocratic oath insists that you do no harm, right? So, and that's your first promise to your patients or to your people, people who come and see you. You should not do any harm before you can actually talk about whether you can help them to treat their disease and so on. It's the same here for us from our nutrition aspect, because we are using a lot of ingredients together, and our science has to help us to create a guarantee that the product is safe first, and then before it is effective. So this whole process that we go through is what we call the 6S process. It's our foundation, right? So there are 6 steps involved in how we develop a product and manufacture a product. And each of the steps, is really about getting data and information about the ingredients we put into the final blend. We must know how much we put in, and we must know what is the level of active ingredients we put in. This is probably our most important and unrecognized value in Nu Skin, is the fact that we don't use ground up leaves, because we can never standardize or make a consistent product out of ground up leaves. People don't seem to appreciate that as much, but if I turn it and into, let's say, a bottle of wine, okay? Why is it a bottle of wine that has been produced, let's say, in 2013 from that particular vineyard is different from a bottle of wine from the same vineyard, but it was produced in, let's say, 2015, 2 years later? Why is it different? In fact, sometimes it's so different, one of the bottles, it becomes what they call reserve or vintage, and it costs much more. Fundamentally, it comes down to the fact that you cannot control nature, right? The temperature, the amount of rainfall, the dirt, and so on and so forth, even from the same exact vineyard, the grape is going to be different. And therefore, the wine will be different. People appreciate that. But we are also the same situation here in Nu Skin with our products. They are all natural products. If we use ground up leaves, we will never know whether we can produce a consistent product. And therefore, we cannot make a guarantee to all of you that our products work and they're safe. Okay. So our product innovation, if you will, some of you may or may not have seen our buildings here in Provo. There's one in Provo, the one on the top left, and the bottom one is the R&D center that we have in China. Roughly, we have about 75 scientists. And there's another one. There are very few companies that are willing to invest in having a scientific team to develop products. You cannot really nowadays be able to get away with just 1 or 2 scientists to develop products. It requires a teamwork, just like you cannot play a football game with 11 players. Without 11 players, I think science nowadays is the same. These are the twins that I show you on the chromosomes. You can see, right? The twin on the right looks much older than her twin on the left. So I won't talk much about our products here. LifePak Nano is our major, what we call our flagship product. It's a foundational product. It addresses all the nutritional deficiencies in a person, if you will. And I think this particular product is really one of the ones you should start off with, if you will. We have since, based on age-log, developed another product called Youth. Here we focus more, as I mentioned, more on the anti-aging aspects of the body. And Youth is the one that we think is the most advanced anti-aging supplement we have ever produced. And it's interesting. We conduct clinical studies. This is actually a functional MRI study with youth, where after about 12 weeks, we can see when you scan using functional MRI to scan the brain, there are much wider areas of the brain showing up after consuming Youth for 12 weeks. We can show inflammation, if you will, on the skin is also significantly reduced in the presence after taking Youth. And you can do it on the skin. So there's another clinical study that we conducted, right? And in fact, you look under microscopic analysis, actually shows us that the number of damaged cells per millimeter square or square millimeters actually has got reduced by more than half, right? And then this product, and that's the reason why we're so excited about the Prysm, is the fact that we actually had a previous version of the scanner looking at antioxidants and so on. And once again, we can show after the consumption of Youth, we can see a gradual improvement of antioxidant protection. So these are the clinical studies. This is just on one product. Other products, Shelley might go into that, like Meta and so on, where we have also conducted clinical studies. So I wouldn't talk about Meta. And this is another one of our metabolic health products that we just sort of launched less than 2 years ago. It took us 7 years to come to this point. So I'll stop here and really give the floor back to Dr. Hester. We have many products, all right? And frankly, I doubt many of you, if any of you, can actually focus on all our products, right? So fundamentally, I look at our products as bricks, yeah, where you're going to build a house of nutrition, okay? And the foundation, like in any building, you've got to have a great foundation. It doesn't matter how nice your house looks like. If it's not sitting on a solid foundation, it will collapse. So that foundation for us, we build it on age-log science, antioxidant science, and so on and so forth. And on the product side, it will consist of Life Pack, the Youth product, and perhaps we can put in Meta as well. These are what I'll find. And once you build a solid foundation, you can then start building the rooms in your house, and those will be our other products that you can add. Whether it's from the skin side or whether it's from the nutritional supplement side, you can start building, because you would know your family history and so on, where you should be focusing your attention on, right? That would be our house of nutrition that you can build with Nu Skin and Pharmanex products. I sort of look at this picture and it sort of reminds me and let you know, right? Without anything, I don't know whether you understand the English I put down there. This is a lady sitting there and somebody came up and said, wow, you look really good. You are happy and all that. What is the secret for living such a happy life? Well, she sort of said, well, I smoke 4 packs of cigarette a day. And then I smoke some more marijuana before I go to bed. And then I drink a whole bottle of Scotch whiskey every day. And I only eat McDonald's and junk food and stuff like that. So the reporter say, well, you found a fountain of youth, haven't you? How old are you? Well, she said, I'm 24. That just goes to show you, once again, bringing you back to what I started with, is the fact that no, it's not how long you live, it's how well you live. That is a key to Nu Skin, right? And it's all related to giving you the best nutritional support ever. Now, for the medical professionals here and all the other folks, you have a strong understanding, perhaps, of what I'm trying to say. But now you have an even more powerful tool that you can use to really help people to understand that if you improve nutrition, you can live better. And that is our device that we call Prysm, right? Many of you have seen it, I think, I hope. And you know, it's this particular thing, right? Many of you have seen it. It's a small portable prism. And it will be able to show you. If you take one of those products, you can now see how your nutritional health improves because the number goes up. No other company, they can say whatever they want. No other company can actually show you, for the average person, how your nutritional health is improving. That's the power. And we couldn't have done that. This Prysm, right, is great, but we couldn't have reached this point to have developed this particular device if we have not built all the things I mentioned to you over the last, I don't know, 30 years or so in Nu Skin. So when you're here listening to me and so on, I hope, really what I'm saying, in fact, is don't listen to me. The Prysm is actually about not listening to what people tell you, but to see what a product can do. Right. If it doesn't show up, most likely that product, no matter what they tell you, is unlikely to get inside your body to do you any good. So that's really the power of Prysm. We just launched it last time. Steve was telling me that, oh my goodness, there's over 500,000 scans now we have done throughout the Nu Skin markets. So it's getting a lot of traction and it's very interesting. So I've spoken too much, and I think, I don't know whether it's Q&A or I'll just hand the floor over to Shelley. Shelley, you're taking over.
Doctor, we have a couple of questions if you have time.
Yeah.
The first one was, what happens if we exceed the micronutrients limit?
No, you will. So the Prysm actually helps you to not exceed the micronutrient limit. Okay. As long as you stay within the scale, like the purple area or whatever, that is very safe. It's actually, so in addition to showing you the nutritional health, the Prysm can also be used as a safety monitor too. Yeah.
Perfect.
All right.
Si alguien tiene alguna pregunta, la puede escribir en el chat para aprovechar al Dr. Chang. The other one was, are habits stronger than genetics?
Say that again.
Are habits stronger than genetics?
Habits. Yeah, habits as in lifestyle habits? No,
Yeah.
your lifestyle habits influence the genetics. You as a person and me as a body, our body is nothing but a genetic machine. Everything that how our body behaves is dependent on gene expression.
Okay.
So yeah, so yes, the habits will influence your gene. If you smoke, you have a problem. You're going to change all what we call our age-locked genes and make them very negative.
There is another one. Dr. Chan, what is exactly what the Prysm's IO measure? And in the future, is going to measure more things?
No, you have to, yes, it will. But first of all, right now, you have to understand what it is measuring now first. Okay, and be able to understand before you look into the future. All right. Yes, we have something planned for the future, but right now, understand Prysm is a scanner of nutritional health. ¿Comprende?
Comprendido.
See, it's very important here. That's right. Okay, because nutritional health means way more than just saying it measures antioxidant status,
Okay.
right?
Right.
Yeah. So that's what it is. Yeah.
Perfect.
And the other thing I'm also bring it up here. If you guys are thinking also, oh, the scanner is varying, it has variation and all that. If you follow our instructions, it's very important. Every time you do a scan, is to wipe it. All right. And make sure you calibrate it first. You're given a little disc to use it. All right. It's not very difficult to do it. So calibrate it, wipe it after each one, and make sure you put your finger covering the whole probe. All right. Don't let the light escape. Then you can get a consistent reading. All right.
Perfect. The other one is the Prism measures polyphenols.
No, right now it doesn't measure polyphenols.
Okay.
But do remember, and this is where the difficulty, I might as well go and explain a little bit. The carotenoids that is measuring, everybody knows, comprende, that is measuring carotenoids, right?
Right.
See? Okay. I hope you understand that carotenoid is a biomarker of the whole antioxidant network. You know what a biomarker is? In other words, it's like cholesterol. You know, cholesterol, doctors measure cholesterol, see? Yeah. So why do they measure cholesterol? Because the cholesterol over many, many, many years has proven to be a biomarker of cardiovascular disease. Right? So
Okay.
it's the same situation here, is that the carotenoids now, based on our 20 years of scientific evidence and so on, okay, we have correlated many lifestyle habits and so on and nutrition to the number. And what we show is now, in addition to being an antioxidant marker, it actually is a biomarker of nutritional health. That's the scientific breakthrough we have with Prysm.
Perfect. We have another one. If someone has like a low score with the Prism and he start like changing some habits, how long is it going to take to have like better score?
About roughly around 6 weeks. Yeah. You're already starting to see an increase, maybe sometimes as early as a month, but typically 6 weeks, you'll definitely see the increase.
Perfect. Another one is we have certification for Prism IO right now.
What sort of certification? We have all the device certification. What certification are you asking?
Okay, I'm going to ask that question with the person
Okay.
who made the question.
Yeah.
How often we have to measure ourselves?
I would measure almost every day at the very beginning.
Okay.
Yeah. You want to see how you're trending.
Let me see. And if you have like a client that we don't see that often, it's like every month.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Let me check if we have another question.
But the question then becomes, you should get your client to get a Prism scanner too.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
How many people we can scan with one device?
How many people? Oh, many, as many as you like, I think. Yeah, and I think, yeah. But make sure you clean it. That's the thing. And on the app, on the phone, right? There's a Prism app. Make sure that you scan as guess and something, right? So don't mix all the scores together.
Perfect. The person was answering about the certification. It's like FDA certification or like that.
We don't need FDA certification for this because it is not a medical device.
Perfect.
We have submitted all our information actually for many years to the FDA, and they have never considered it as a medical device.
Excellent, Dr. Chan. I think we are done with the questions, so
Okay.
we can leave you in peace.
That's good. All right, Shelley.